What's up, guys? Welcome back to the That's So Dev podcast. My name is Dev. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I appreciate you. You know, we have some tea to get into, some thankful tea, okay? Now, y'all know how I get down, but before we get into this tea, make sure you go ahead and follow me at That's So Dev on Twitter, Instagram, and literally everywhere else, including YouTube. And if you're streaming over there, give this a like and subscribe. Love that for you. Whew! Girl, we need to chat because it's Thanksgiving baking time. And you know, every year I do my baking. So we're here to talk about my bakings. And I'm really excited to talk about my bakings. Now, look, I kept it really cute and really simple. And y'all know these podcasts are not very long. So we're just going to get straight into it. But I just feel so excited about my baking. Like, let's talk about it genuinely. Okay, so I only baked three things, and the easiest thing that I baked this time was the Rice Krispies. I had a beautiful time. Now, I don't share my recipes because I'm eventually going to put those into a cookbook and blah, 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 and do all of that stuff, notarize them. I have my very own recipes down. I'm talking about baking science. Like, yes, figuring all of that extra stuff out. Like, it's one thing. It's like when somebody gives you advice, and instead of taking that advice per se, you kind of take something from that advice. You take a piece from everyone's advice. You know what I mean? And you really do your own thing. It's like when you're also going into a studio and you're creating music, like maybe you use a sample or whatever the case may be. Most songs use the same three chords. So it's just like everything is just a recreation of something that's already been created. So, that's just really how I look at your own recipe. And I don't really think people know how hard it is to come up with your own recipes. But I think that after such a long time of practice and such a long time of just doing this, like baking is my way of living, it just kind of came out, honestly. So the Rice Krispies, it was really cute. I wanted to make a small batch because I tend to make too many Krispies, and I don't want to do that. Okay? Because where is it going? I give little treat boxes to my neighbors, and I enjoy the Krispies and the fam, and then we just kind of move on from that. But I wanted to do something just like slightly different. So I got me some French vanilla marshmallows. I wanted to just spice it up a little bit. You know what I mean? I mean, the difference between vanilla and French vanilla, to me, it's not too different, but it's different enough to taste. So I got me some French vanilla marshmallows, and I did some unsalted butter. I think I put 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter into my pot. If you want to go ahead and follow along the recipe, write it down. Doesn't matter. It's super easy. 2 tablespoons butter. I prepared my 2 cups of cereal, 2 cups of marshmallows, and about a tablespoon of sprinkles for the inside of the Krispies. I also wanted to make them orange just because the sprinkles that I had were brown, orange, and white in Thanksgiving, so I really wanted to stay on brand. So I just got me, my food coloring drops. I did 2 drops of red, 1 drop of yellow, and it kind of gave it this dark orange color. It was supposed to be like a peachy color, but it's fine. It's not that serious to me. It still came out orange. It's still on brand. So I melted my 2 tablespoons of butter. I browned that butter, and then I put in my 2 cups of marshmallows. And then I just kind of let it do its thing until the marshmallows are done. I'm constantly stirring the marshmallows in the butter because I don't want things to really burn. We want them to brown, like the butter. You want the butter to brown, but you don't want it to burn. There's a big difference. And I just realized, I feel like the browned butter gives it this like caramel type like taste, and it's really earthy and sweet to me. So I do that. I get the marshmallows melted. After the marshmallows are melted, I put in my food coloring. And then after the food coloring, I'll put in my Krispies. But after the marshmallows are melted, I immediately take it off there. There's really no need for me to keep it on the stove. So after I put my Krispies in, I mix it all up. I maybe put just a little bit of extra marshmallows. If you want like that extra gooiness, you can put a little extra marshmallows up inside that motherfucker. So I didn't do that this time. I was going to. I The whole process of it was I typically will make the marshmallows, put the cereals in, and then I'll put the marshmallows inside extra to kind of give it that gooey type thing. But sometimes I put a little too many marshmallows and it makes it too gooey. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to play it safe this time, which was perfectly fine. It came out perfect to me. So genuinely. So after I was done, doing all that, blah, 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 I have at this point, my Rice Krispies is forming inside the pot. I'm going to put it inside of a baking pan. Now, you can use, I wouldn't use wax paper, use parchment paper, or if you don't have parchment paper, use aluminum foil, but I prefer parchment paper. I use aluminum foil because I totally forgot about it. And I used a loaf pan and I just stuffed that motherfucker up in there and I sprinkled my sprinkles on top and then I put extra marshmallows on top of the marshmallows. Well, the Rice Krispie treats. Y'all know what I mean, child. So that was wonderful. I put that in the fridge and I just kind of let it do its thing for however long while I did everything else. So those are really fun to do. It's really, really easy. 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 cups of cereal, 2 cups of marshmallows, 1/4 tablespoon of vanilla. If you want to add any, I did it just because of the flavor of marshmallows. But it tasted perfectly fine to me. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. If you want to add sprinkles, you can. You don't have to. If you want to add, like, Oreo bits to make it cookies and cream, like, you can just customize however you want to. But you just want to obviously make sure you do your butter, your marshmallows, and your Rice Krispies. People even they do it in the microwave too. People do it in the air fryer. They'll put their marshmallows down, they'll sprinkle the cereal on top, and then they'll just put squares of butter on top, or they'll just melt the butter in the microwave, and then they'll put the marshmallows in, melt the marshmallows, put the cereals in. Like, there's several methods that you can use to make this, but I just personally find the stove to just, I don't know, it's just like second nature. You know what I mean? It's like with everything that I do, just use the stove, it was just like, okay, like, I didn't even have to think about it, even though there may have been a quote unquote easier way. But yeah, so that's that. There are my Krispies, and those taste so wonderful. They have a nice, like, this crispiness on the outside, and on the inside is just so marshmallowy and soft, and it's just amazing to me. I'm obsessed with them, bitch, truly, because I got so tired of making too many gooey marshmallows. Like, they were good, they were wonderful, but they were just so gooey, and I had to find the right balance. And that's the big thing about finding my own recipe that works for me, that comes out consistently for me. You do it over and over again until you get it right. And I'm kind of at that point now where I'm like, okay, you want to know, I figured out this Rice Krispie thing, and I'm just going to play it safe right now. It's not even necessarily playing it safe. I'm going to stick by the rules because I'm super extra, and I will, like, if my baking line, it's so complex, and in the middle of doing something, I may be like, oh my god, you want to know what, this looks better, this seems better, this might be a better path for me to go about this, so God knows what my mind will decide to do. So I'm just grateful that a bitch decided to keep it simple. But okay, moving on. So this next thing, my cookies, I'm actually very excited about the cookies. So here's what makes me excited even more so about the cookies. So I was already going to make spice cookies, right? And I came across these pumpkin spice chocolate chips. I mean, they're not chocolate, right? But they're in the shape of chips, and they're pumpkin spice flavor. So I said, you know what? I'm already making homemade spiced cookies, right? So I'm just going to make some pumpkin spice chip cookies because, right? Hold that thought, right? Like, stay with me here, because chocolate chip cookies, the cookie without the chocolate chips is a brown sugar cookie. That's what a chocolate chip cookie without chocolate chips in it is. It's a brown sugar cookie. But I'm not walking around calling that cookie a brown sugar chocolate chip cookie. No, the fuck I'm not. I'm calling it a chocolate chip cookie. So I'm going to call this a pumpkin spice chip cookie. Hello. Well, yes. Keep up, girl. Now, I think that these are wonderful. Am I going to give my recipe away for that? No, absolutely not. There's just some things I don't do. And the cakes and cookies, for the most part, they're going to be the ones that I don't share. But the cookies, they just came out so wonderful. I really want to make sure that I added some brown sugar into them because, I am a brown sugar girly, and I love just the texture and the chewiness that I get from the brown sugar in my cookies. And my favorite part also, because when I cream my butter and my sugar, but I also add some brown sugar into that little mix. So I cream my sugar, brown sugar, and my butter at the same time. So it's just kind of like such a wonderful mix, I can't help it but taste it a little bit. I can't.